All right, so you want to talk about SpaceX. We've got a pretty interesting mix of stuff you've given us. A biography, research papers on space exploration, even news articles like the impact of Starlink. You really want to dig deep, huh?
It seems like you want to go deeper than just rockets and satellites, looking at the bigger picture of ambition and what it takes to shake things up.
So SpaceX, right? It's different. It's not like a typical space program, is it? This is a whole other beast.
You're absolutely right. One of the things about SpaceX and Elon Musk is this real focus on cost, like being careful with money. Have you heard about Musk's idiot index?
Okay, yeah, idiot index. Kind of a funny name, but it's also intriguing. What's that all about?
So picture this. Musk looks at, say, a rocket. He breaks it down to the materials, like what it's actually made of. He found that traditional companies, they were charging way too much. And he thought, if the prices are that crazy, there has to be a better way.
Calling out an entire industry for, like, not being efficient? I bet that didn't make him a lot of friends.
Exactly. Streamlining, cutting costs, doing things faster. That's their thing. Look at their choice of launch sites. Kwajalein Atoll used to be a missile testing site, not your typical spaceport.
Coconut crabs and all that.
Yeah,
A little different from Cape Canaveral.
exactly. It shows they're not afraid to try unusual things to save money. Sure, it was cheaper than NASA's usual spots, but also, like, its own set of challenges.
Yeah.
A risk, but it shows they wanted to be different.
That willingness to take risks, right? Like, they weren't afraid of explosions, literally, in those early days. All
Yeah.
part of learning faster, I guess.
That's them, scrappy, always adapting.
Right.
Early SpaceX was all about pushing boundaries and, seeing failures as lessons.
Yeah.
And it works,
Hmm.
right? From barely launching a rocket to working with NASA, sending people to the space station. But of course, it wasn't always easy.
Right. Explosions, setbacks. There's that quote from Musk about those early days, something like, I thought SpaceX would probably fail, but it was so important to try.
Exactly. That's the audacity, the belief in pushing forward, even when things seem impossible. And that kind of leads us to, well, Starlink. And this feels bigger than Musk just wanting to be the space internet guy, doesn't it?
There's that quote, I think it was from one of those articles, where he says, internet revenue is like $1 trillion a year. Simple statement, but it makes you think.
It does. That one line tells you there's a bigger plan. Even with, global internet access, Starlink feels like it's also about getting the resources for something even bigger, Mars.
So he's playing a different game, right? Others want a piece of the pie. He's trying to bake a whole new pie. But it's not just about the money for future projects. Look at Ukraine. Starlink's making a real difference there now.
Absolutely. The conflict there shows how powerful this technology can be. It's a lifeline, keeping people connected when everything else is down. But it also shows how complicated it can be, right? Even with good intentions, there are always things you don't expect.
Which I guess brings us to the man himself, Elon Musk. This biography, it's a wild ride. Genius for sure, but, well, maybe a bit of a wild card too.
He's definitely complex. The sources we've got, they describe someone who's driven, always curious, but also unpredictable, prone to making decisions on the fly. And that's led to a very particular way of running things.
Is that where that very hot coffee story comes in? That one felt very telling about how he manages things.
Right. He gets upset over a small delay. On the surface, it's just him being tough. But look closer, it shows he's in the weeds, involved in every little detail. That intensity, it's everywhere in his career.
And that intensity, it's behind his successes and also, well, some very public missteps. It's like he's always pushing not just technology, but himself and everyone around him.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so interesting. It's not just about a successful businessman or a tech guy. It's a human story behind all these big ideas. A story about someone who dreams big, takes risks, doesn't play by the rules, and maybe ruffles a few feathers along the way. And it's not just companies, right? This whole idea of brilliance and potential for things to go a little haywire, it's in his personal life, too. The biography really shows how things like, losing his first son, Nevada, how his relationships have been. Well, it's all shaped him.
Like he's taking all that pain, that intensity, and putting it into his work.
It's interesting, right? You can see it in how he approaches everything, designing rockets, electric cars. He likes to challenge what everyone thinks, even if it means, butting heads with experts or pushing his teams really hard.
And speaking of butting heads, we got to talk about the more controversial stuff. The biography doesn't hide it, the tweets, the arguments, all that. Almost like he enjoys stirring the pot a little.
And yet, he's also all about the details. Like demanding perfection from air. Remember that story about the Tesla factory when they were behind schedule? He basically moved in, slept on the factory floor,
Yeah.
even like rewriting code in the middle of the night just to get things moving.
It's that king crazy thing, right? His ex-wife said that. Like, he wants to achieve so much, but it's almost like it could consume him.
Yeah, and the sources, they show both sides. He can see the future, but he can also be impulsive.
Yeah.
It's this back and forth that makes him so interesting.
And that same tension, it's there in how he runs things. That Solar City roof project, he was really hard on them about it, using some colorful language. And these were his cousins he was talking to.
Shows you, right? He's a brilliant guy, no doubt, but his style, let's just say he's a very direct. He expects a lot, and he's not afraid to let you know it.
Sounds intense. But even with the pressure, the long hours, people are drawn to him. Why? What is it about him that makes people so loyal?
I think it's that feeling of being part of something bigger. They're not just building cars or rockets. They're building the future. And even with the bumps in the road and with how unpredictable he can be, they believe in him,
Mm.
and they believe they can achieve anything with him leading.
We've talked SpaceX, Starlink, the man himself, but not much about Tesla. That's the one that really put him on the map, right? Electric cars went from kind of niche to like the cool thing to have. How do you pull that off?
It's important to remember he didn't actually start Tesla. He invested early on, but then he saw what it could be, and, well, he jumped in head first.
And brought that energy, that need to change everything to the car world. That
Yeah.
roadster, right? Turning a Lotus into an electric sports car, that was genius. Suddenly, electric wasn't boring anymore.
Exactly. He challenged the way things were always done and made the big car companies pay attention. And then the Model S, Model X, Model 3, every car pushed the limits of what people thought electric could be.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it? Remember production hell with the Model 3? Musk pushing everyone to the limit, sleeping on the factory floor again, all to build enough cars.
That's the other side of his ambition, right? He's always pushing, pushing, and sometimes even those crazy deadlines, they can't be met. But even then, he's learning, changing how he does things. He'll admit when he's wrong and try something new.
And those lessons, he takes them everywhere, right? SpaceX, Tesla. He's always trying to be better, faster, more efficient.
And that's what makes this so interesting. It's not just about some successful guy or a tech genius. It's about this constant push for progress, the challenges that come with it, and this guy who's impossible to put in a box.
He is a walking contradiction, isn't he? Billionaire sleeping on the factory floor, CEO who loves memes, a visionary who can be inspiring and frustrating at the same time.
Absolutely. And that's why he's so interesting, so polarizing. He makes you question what success is, what it means to be a leader, what the future holds. It's a lot to think about.
So where do we go from here? We've covered a lot. SpaceX's early days, Starlink's vision, Musk's life. It's been wild.
And it's not over yet. These sources, they're just a snapshot. He's already changing industries, cars, space, and then there's energy, the internet. And don't forget, he wants to colonize Mars.
It's almost too much, right? But through all the big ideas, the controversies, the question I have is, can he actually do it? Can he make Tesla, SpaceX, humanity even, successful in the long run, with all the chaos he brings?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's one you'll have to ask yourself as you keep digging into these sources. But one thing's for sure, Elon Musk's story is far from over. And whatever happens next, it's going to be unpredictable. It's going to be audacious, and it's going to be fascinating to watch.
And it's not just Mars, is it? It's like he's got a million things he's working on. Neuralink, that whole brain-computer thing, the Boring Company, digging tunnels, always on to the next big thing.
Yeah, it's like once he's conquered one challenge, he needs a new one.
Yeah.
But it's not just about him, right? A lot of what he does, it comes back to this idea of, like, protecting humanity's future.
You mean like that whole Fermi paradox thing?
Exactly. This idea that with all these stars and planets, we haven't found any other intelligent life.
And for Musk, that's not just some thought experiment. It's like, it's why he wants us on Mars, like a backup plan, just in case we are alone.
It's a powerful motivator. It explains why he's so into space, but also, things like renewable energy, being careful with AI. It's not just business, it's about survival.
So he's like the guardian of the future in a way. It makes those crazy projects make a little more sense. But we gotta be real, right? This drive of his, it has a downside. The biography talks about some of his, well, mistakes. The pedo guy comment, the trouble with the SEC.
It does seem like when he acts without thinking, it kind of blows up in his face. It's
Yeah.
like the problems he's trying to solve, they're so urgent in his mind that any risk is worth it.
And yet, he's also all about the details, right? That king crazy thing again, huge ambition, but almost like he could break under the pressure.
It's true. And honestly, that whole Twitter thing, it's like a perfect example. It wasn't just about free speech or whatever it felt like.
Yeah.
He liked the chaos of it all.
Couldn't resist jumping into the fire. And of course, it was a very public mess, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. And it showed how he operates, all the good and the bad,
Yeah.
hardcore work, no time for slow processes, very hands-on.
Mm.
It gets things done, but not always smoothly.
Every day, a new Twitter headline. Layoffs, that whole Twitter blue thing, advertisers bailing, not exactly a stable situation.
Right. And it's all part of who he is, how he leads. That feeling of being on the edge, it's almost like he needs it.
But it takes a toll, right? On the people around him, but on him too. That story about the Starship launch, where he says he had PTSD from the earlier failures.
Yeah, that one really got to me. You can see the pressure he puts on himself,
Yeah.
this need to do the impossible. And yeah, it comes at a price.
So, after all this, what do we make of Elon Musk? A man of contradictions, capable of amazing things, but also kind of self-destructive.
He's a puzzle, that's for sure. Someone with huge dreams, but also he creates a lot of his own problems. The question is, can he find that balance? Can he use all that energy, that drive, to actually make things better in the long run?
Guess we'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be interesting. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Elon Musk. It's been, well, an experience.